Hello and good morning. Welcome to the MNSpiritCast Sunday morning, and we have a bonus episode for you guys. Really special bonus episode. Today our guest is, I do not want to butcher her last name, so I'm going to do my best, and feel free to correct me because I'm not good with names. So a little bit about who we're interviewing today. Lindsay Kwiecien is a 32-year-old mother of two with extensive exposure and experience with spirits and entities of all shapes and sizes. She is a well-versed and self-taught empath who has been using and honing her abilities since her teenage years. Spirits of all age groups come across her path, but she seems to attract an excessive amount of child spirits. So everybody, please welcome our very own Cara and Brandon and Lindsay herself. Good morning. Now, did I say your last name right?
You were very close. It's Kwiecien.
Kwiecien. Oh man, I was very close.
You were actually closer than most. So
Oh boy. So, how is everybody doing this morning?
fantastic.
And we got Cara and Brandon on the go this morning.
We're on mobile today.
So, yes, they're mobile.
Yep.
It is
We're doing
Rachel. Good morning. And Emmy from PDX. Good morning. So, Lindsay, tell us a little bit about what you do in the paranormal field.
Well, it's just my life, to be painfully honest. I don't. I've been on some investigations. I've helped friends here and there with spirits in their house. But I live with it, so it's a daily occurrence for me. I have no less than 9 to 11 spirits in my house at a time.
Wow.
They do tend to follow me. They follow me to work. Yeah.
Wow,
So,
that's great.
yeah.
Now, so when reading your bio, it says that you've been using and honing your abilities for quite some time now. Do you have like medium abilities, psychic abilities, or how does all that work? Communicating with spirits.
I'm clairaudient. I can hear things sometimes. I'm not a medium or a psychic. Like, I can't. It's all by feeling.
Okay.
Being an empath, people alive or dead. But with living people, I can feel what they're feeling, and in doing that, a lot of times I can interpret what they're thinking, as a whole through those feelings.
Right.
I'm not always correct. I can be completely off, but it's all empathic. All everything that I do is through feelings. I'm a touch empath. If I touch
Okay.
things, I can feel, the history in them, and the things that are attached to them, if there is anything attached to them. I do get occasional, flashes or this and that, but I wouldn't say no that I'm not a medium or a psychic.
Right. Now that has to be very challenging and complicated at times. All the different things that you can feel and hear. Now, these abilities, do they help in investigations at all?
Absolutely. I can tell normally immediately if there are things in a building or a home that we walk into. I can feel the pressure and the energy of the spirits in there. Normally I can decipher genders, like a general age,
Okay.
if we're dealing with children or adults or, elderly people or, things that are not human. I'm also, I do get my warning bells. I can tell when it's time to go.
Right. Exactly.
So, yeah.
Wow. Okay. And so you noticed that you had these abilities from a young age.
Hmm.
And also reading your bio, it says that you get spirits of all age groups, but mostly child spirits come through. Now, Do you think there's a reason that mostly that age group comes through to you?
To be painfully honest, I'm not sure. I do love kids. I am good with kids. I have 3 kids. I have
Right.
a stepchild as well. But she's grown and done now.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know if it's because I have children in the house. I have the 2 boys, and my 12-year-old is also very sensitive to supernatural things, to spirits and whatnot. He can see them. He can hear them. And it freaks him out. He's not very accepting of it yet.
Right.
But I don't know if it's because they know they see me interact with my own children and then know that they can communicate with me in some way. A lot of them do congregate in my 12-year-old's room. They hang out in there because they know he can see them. And I always tell them, I said, just tell them to come bother me. If they bother you, just tell them to go. They can come bother me, and they'll leave him alone. But they play with his toys. He has right now we have a teenager in the house. She's about 16, a 16-year-old spirit, and she likes to knock his stuff off of his dresser and move his stuff around. She pulls the blanket off of him sometimes. She gives him a hard time. She likes to pick on him. But you can hear her walking around during the day. Like in broad daylight, I'll be sitting downstairs and you can hear her knocking stuff around in his room and moving it around. Yeah. But children, I just assume maybe it's because I'm a mother and they can sense that, you know what I mean? I have empathy for children. You know what I mean? I have a soft spot for kids. I actually have, I think, 3 in the house right now from like the age of I would say 5 to 10.
Okay.
Yeah. They're mischievous. They're the child ones. They get into stuff.
Right.
They get into stuff.
Wow. Okay. So, when dealing with all the different types of spirits, children tend to because in investigations that we've been to, children seem to make themselves more known than the adult spirits and stuff. So if anybody's going to come through more, it's going to be the child spirits, because for one, it's a very sad thing that they are now spirits,
Yeah.
but they still want to make themselves known. They want you to know that they're there, and I think it's awesome that you can communicate with these children, because they probably just need somebody to, make them feel loved, even though that they're not here anymore. They just need somebody. So it's awesome that a lot of child spirits come through to you. I think that's pretty awesome.
I love them. They're my favorite. They pull my Oreos, like they get in my snack cabinet and they pull the snacks out of the cabinet.
Oh boy.
And yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So with having that many spirits living in your house, do you think or what is like the worst moment or the worst thing you've dealt with?
We're not going
I've actually
inside.
only ever been attacked one time in my entire life. I've never had I've had aggressive spirits, but I've never been one of the children that I had in my house. Actually, she smacked me in the face.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And it was because most children, a lot of child spirits I've come to notice don't know that they've died. A lot of them don't realize that they're dead. But their mentality, they don't feel like lost. Like they're like, oh, I just live here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they can't comprehend, especially when they're very young, that that they've passed on. And that girl, her name was Millie, and she was like 4 or 5. And I tried to help her move on because she was so young, and she was very distraught.
Right.
She was playful, But she was very confused where her mother was, and whatnot. And I could not, I couldn't figure out how long she had been dead. I couldn't find any records. She only, I asked her, I'm like, well, what is your last name? She didn't know. She didn't know her last name. And I was like, okay, well, we need to get her to move on. She's getting very restless.
Yeah.
And when I tried to explain to her that she had passed on, she got very upset. And she smacked me in the face.
Oh.
And I don't know if you've ever been smacked in the face by a spirit. It's a pretty interesting feeling.
Not yet, I haven't.
It literally feels like you're being smacked by the wind. But like a firm wind. A friend of mine took a picture. You could see like child fingers on my face for like
Oh, wow.
10 seconds. And then my face tingled after she did it because I had, you know what I mean? And then she proceeded, she would break things in the house until I got her settled. But that was not actually my worst experience, though. That was the only time I've ever had like an excessively aggressive spirit. I had this has been just this past year. Honestly, I couldn't tell you what it was. I keep my house very well guarded. I keep it very clean. I make sure that everything is kept in order. Because I have children in the house, and a toddler cannot protect themselves from an entity attack, or a spirit that's aggressive. They don't know how to protect themselves, and they're wide open. So I try to make sure that the house, anybody that comes in knows the rules, and if they don't follow those rules, they get shoved out. But I was having trouble sleeping one night. I kept waking up, and I remember I was laying there in bed, and I had my eyes closed, and then it felt like someone was right next to my head, and they said, "Lindsay," like clear as day, and I felt the breath on my ear, and I thought it was my husband for a second, because I'm like, and I roll over, and he's dead to the world, like he's gone, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm getting up. I'm like, nope. We're not doing this. We're not playing creepy in the dark. I'm getting up. I'm up.
Yeah.
So I got up and I went downstairs, and I was like, I'm going to drink some chocolate milk. I'm going to have a little snack, and then I'm going to try and go back to bed. And I was just playing on my phone, and I was leaning over the counter, and all of a sudden I felt like someone had just sat on my chest. I couldn't breathe immediately. Like my air was cut off.
Wow.
And my vision started to go dark around the edges. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to pass out right here in the kitchen, and nobody's awake. I'm like, oh my God. So I got down on the floor just in case I passed out, but it felt like someone was literally like I had an elephant just sitting on me. Like I could feel the pressure in my face and in my chest. And like, that was the first time I felt like true fear with paranormal, because I always feel like I handle things very well. I feel very protected. Yeah. I'm not afraid. And I felt like true fear. And I crawled upstairs, and I got back up to my husband, and I'm like shaking him awake. I'm like, something's wrong. And I sat there, and about 45 seconds later, it just stopped.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, that's a hard pass. We're not doing that. No.
Yeah, right.
And that's you are not welcome in my house, whoever you are. And the next day I got up, I threw all the windows open, saged the house, cleansed everything, and I'm like, nope, none of that. And it never happened again. And so,
oh my God.
But it was aggressive. It was terrifying.
I bet. Wow. And I'm kind of glad you mentioned what you mentioned, because most spirits do not know that they are that they have passed, or that they're dead, or anything. So most spirits, like I said, don't always know that they passed away. So reminding them or whatever can be a dangerous thing.
Yes.
It depends on the spirit, I guess. And actually, our medium Rochelle is here, and maybe she can help you out with that a little bit. Sorry, cranky baby.
Yeah.
So, but long story short, like, just You never know the outcome of any response that you ask a spirit. Just the slightest thing could tick them off. So
Yeah.
sorry, she's like screaming over there.
It's okay. I have children. I understand.
Right. Good morning, Rochelle.
Morning.
How are you? Okay. Now, Irene's here. Hello. Thanks for joining in. So Lindsay, what got you kind of interested in the paranormal or working in investigation and stuff?
Well, just having abilities that I didn't understand. You know, being a teenager and when I started experiencing the things that I was experiencing, my father was very religious. So I was kept in a very religious household, and you can't. That's a no-no. Those don't exist. That's not good.
Yeah.
And I feel like things were less accessible when I was young. We were still reading books back then. I remember when Google became a thing. I was a coherent person when Google became a thing. So like, when I was younger, we were still looking stuff up in books, and it was hard. Things like that weren't easily accessible at that age. So a lot of it was just trial by fire. And as I kept going, I realized I wasn't crazy. I was actually doing something amazing. And it made me want to push farther into that genre that was not well talked about, or, that was kept behind closed doors because it was demonic or inappropriate or, crazy or, and just that need to know what I was doing is what made me want to delve into the supernatural. I mean, I've been exposed. Spirits have been around me since I was a baby child, like a small child. And when you have dead people kind of just hanging out all the time, you got to figure it out, or
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. Now a question that I did want to ask, since you had mentioned earlier, with the activity going on in the house and everything, and just in general, how does your husband adapt to this? Because does he have any abilities, or
he's I can't see it, hear it, it doesn't exist. He does not believe in spirits. He does not believe that I have an ability.
kind of a skeptic almost?
Yeah, he's a non-believer. So he sees and hears nothing, you know what I mean? And I'm okay with it, because it's fine. I believe me, so whatever.
Hey, as long as you can have your fun, that's all that matters.
Absolutely. And it's a constant. So, it's like having roommates in my house all the time. It's just having other people living in my house all the time that only I can interact with. So, imaginary friends.
Has there ever been a time where, like, maybe you were communicating with one of these spirits and, like, talking to it, and maybe he walked in on you and, like, what the heck are you doing?
He does catch me talking to nothing sometimes, but he did have one experience that I think made him question it for a second, but he's a logic guy, so he kind of just pushed it. He's like, nope. This was actually one of my child spirits from years ago. His name was Jeffrey, and it was when we first moved into the house that we're living in now. There was a piano, which would have been right behind me here. It's in another room now, but it was here. It was left by the previous owners, and it was in the dining room. And we were moving stuff in, and we didn't have our dining room table yet, so we had like one of those pop-up tables. And so we just had it sitting up against the piano. Well, overnight, I slept through it because the is nothing new to me. Apparently, someone was down here playing the piano, and I got up and went to work, and then my husband called me when I got off work, and he was like, "Hey, did you hear the piano last night?" And I'm like, "No, why?" And he's like, "Well, I asked Adam, and which is my now 12-year-old, and he said obviously not." And I said, "Well, were there any lights on in the house when you got up?" And he said, "No." I said, "Then it wasn't Adam." I said, "Because if Adam would have gotten up to get a drink of water and play the piano, every single light, the closet lights would have been on, the kitchen light, the dining room light, the living room light, we would have had a $5,000 electric bill." I'm like, every light in the house would have been on had he got up to go downstairs. I said, it was not Adam. And it freaked him out because I said, "Well, was the table moved?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "So either someone climbed on top of the table to get to the piano, or," and he's like, and I could tell he didn't know how to explain it, because there was no way to explain how it had happened, because he knew I was right when I told him, I'm like, there were no lights on, then it wasn't, because that my son was notorious. He's still a little notorious for turning lights on. He's 12, right. So.
Jeez, wow.
But that's been his one time, and I tell him all the time, I'm like, mess with him a little bit. I'm like, you can pick on him, it's fine, And I don't know if he just ignores it if they do things when I'm not home, and he just ignores it, or if they're not willing to pick on him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But they're very active when I have friends over or whatnot. I love sitting there and watching them, because they'll hear them walking up and down the hallway and moving stuff around upstairs, and they're like, "Doesn't that terrify you?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, "What?
Right.
What is there to be afraid of?" I'm like, "This is my life. This is just what I do."
Yeah. Well, here's actually a good question for you. That must be so hard to balance with a spouse that doesn't believe. What is your advice to someone who struggles with that dynamic?
Just do it. Just, if they don't support it, it's your choice. And I mean, it doesn't cause any fights in my household. He doesn't give me a hard time. He doesn't give me a hard time about it. And I think he's just chalked me up as a little crazy. Okay. I think he just thinks I'm a little crazy, and that's fine. I am a little crazy, but we
all are.
Everybody's a little crazy. But it doesn't.
Especially
it doesn't.
This guy down in the corner here, he's very crazy.
Well, it's a good thing. Crazy people are fun. It doesn't affect our marriage in any fashion. I mean, not to my knowledge. It doesn't. He doesn't. I have crystals laying everywhere, and hoodoo voodoo stuff, as he likes to call it. And he doesn't. You know what I mean? It doesn't affect his life in any form. He just, I know he doesn't believe, so I don't talk about it with him, and he doesn't question me when I talk about it. So, you know what I mean? We just kind of coexist.
Absolutely. A couple little shout outs here. Matt, welcome. Mackenzie, welcome. Thank you. Wizard's Table is here. Ken Allen, thank you very much. Okay. So Kara and Brandon are having trouble with their internet, so they're just going to be in the comments from now. So Kara and Brandon, thank you for being here anyways. And Kara said, it's good you're there to help him understand. And it is.
Like I said, we just kind of coexist. So.
Right. No, hey, and Rachel says, I embrace the crazy. We all
absolutely. It's more fun that way.
Exactly.
I coexist in my house with ghosts.
Me as well.
Hey,
in my basement.
I learned all of my crazy from the best, and he's called Matt.
He taught me too.
Well,
I tried.
So you taught Matt, and Matt taught me. Okay.
Yeah, that way. We'll go that way.
Might as well. Lindsay, I want to bring up a really exciting announcement / invite for you, and I'm sure all of my members here will agree with me, especially Matt himself. Now, there's this amazing program, and it's called the P3 program.
Okay.
And it's basically a platform where a bunch of teams, a bunch of people that don't even have to be involved in the paranormal, they just share an interest in paranormal. And everybody goes on there in a stress-free environment, no judgment or anything. So I'd like to extend an invite to you, per Matt here, to maybe talk to Matt about joining the program, because you ever need help with anything, anybody's there for you, and whatever, Matt, and I'm sure you can explain it a little more. It's amazing.
No, I've never heard about it.
Yeah, it's not like, we came up with the program or anything.
No, I'm just giving Marcus a hard time because that's what I do. It's his show now. He gives me a hard time on my show, so return
Might as well.
But no, so the P3 program is something that we created to give teams, groups, individuals, enthusiasts, or just people who are curious about the paranormal a place to network with everybody and to get some support, to promote each other out, and to have an environment just like on ParaPost, to be able to network, promote yourselves out, come together, have some fun, and build. We're building a family. It's not a community. It's not. I mean, I think we're beyond community at this point.
It's a stress-free environment.
But it's just a place for you to be you. And people who are outside of the field, like on my show and on Marcus's show, and the Hunter show, we bring people on who don't just investigate. We bring people on outside of our field to find out more. Mm-hmm. And that's what the program's about as well. It's about a place where everybody can learn and build off of each other.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
The best thing is you don't give anything up. You gain. That's it. You gain.
And that's a beautiful thing. I'm good at gaining, especially weight. So
same here. Now, Rochelle, I want to give you a chance to speak, because talking about living with people that don't quite believe in what we do. Now, have you ever experienced, like anybody in your family, are they skeptic about the paranormal? Or what's your take on that?
My mother thinks I'm nuts, although I got it from her, and she has weird things happen all the time, and she's like, well, maybe it's me, but I don't think you're just nuts. And then my soon-to-be ex-husband, he was like, you don't know anything, you don't know nothing. And I'd tell people in the bar that something that their grandma told them from way back when, and it was only something that she'd call him, like, well, she's just pulling that out of the air. And he's like, nobody knows that except my grandma. So yeah, I get it. So I'm relating totally. I get it. But my youngest son, he is one of us, and he accepts us. My oldest one, I think he's scared of both me and his brother, because he doesn't have anything to do with that kind of stuff at all. He's like, I get it, Mom, but let's not go there. So,
yep. And the paranormal can change a lot of stuff, because before actually opening a team and everything, when something happened, I tried to find an answer of what it was. I didn't want to believe that it was ghosts and spirits, and I just didn't even want to think about it, because it wasn't something I was interested in, and they didn't exist in my mind. And you're never going to be able to fully change somebody's mind about the paranormal until something actually really happens to them themselves. Nothing is going to change their mind. They got to experience it themselves. So it's crazy what you can discover in the paranormal field, or what can happen, or anything. It's just a world of wonder. That's basically what the paranormal is. So
you're a little bit of Hogwarts.
Pretty much, yes. Oh, that's awesome. So, now we asked this, just kind of a fun question. We asked this to a lot of people, but I want to hear your opinion.
Okay.
And Matt, you probably know what I'm going to say.
I never know what goes on in these shows, so
I don't know what you're gonna say.
I don't even know what I'm gonna say.
This is
on my
the
own.
first. This is the first like show that I've been on of yours.
Yeah, it is. Welcome. No,
Yeah, for now.
Lindsay, if you could go anywhere in the world, let's extend it to the world. If you could go anywhere where money wasn't an object or distance wasn't an object or anything, where do you want to investigate?
Well, that would be probably two places.
Okay.
I want to go do like an Ireland, Scotland, Netherlands tour and do all the old
Ooh.
castles, and all of that old. There's so much history there. And then I'd like to do like an Asian tour and do like China, Japan, Korea,
Yeah.
because I feel like their belief in the supernatural and things like that is so fascinating, and it's a lot of it is very different. Asian culture is so different from, American culture or any other culture.
Yeah.
And I'd like to really delve deep into their beliefs and, go to the old temples and, things like that and really nose around and look at it. So, yeah. Absolutely.
Actually asking that question, you're the very first one that said anything like that. That's exciting. Never even thought about it.
And actually, Marcus, I'm going to interject here. You stole that question from me, and I stole that from Brian Lafferty. Because he always claims that it's his question. So we got to
give unity, man. It's pair unity. No, that's actually a really exciting way to kind of get a feel for people and what they like to investigate. These old temples and stuff, like you were talking about. Imagine the spirits that roam these places, or all the aftermath of what actually happened in the past and the hauntings and everything. That's exciting. Never heard that before.
I'm nosy. I can't help it. I'm a very nosy person. So
you gotta be. So actually, I don't know if you guys have heard of it before, but there is a and let me see if I can pull it up here. There is a haunted road trip, and it takes you to like 12 or 13 destinations. I'm gonna look it up here because hitting all these spots would actually be exciting. So it's on the East Coast, and it's United States haunted road trip. So it's got stops from multiple different states. Like there's the Ghostbusters Firehouse in New York, the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery in New York State, and it kind of just goes in maybe a loop, and you're just kind of taking a road trip, and there's destinations on this road trip that they have pinpointed throughout the whole route that are haunted. How cool would that be to actually hit all those locations?
that would be amazing.
That would be awesome. So, like, there's Centralia in Pennsylvania where Matt and Mackenzie are. So,
actually, side note, just for everybody, Centralia is actually off limits.
Yeah, you can't go there anymore.
Yeah, it's literally like a half hour, if that, from us, and you can drive through the town of Centralia, and it's a beautiful area. But as far as investigating, they cut that all off.
Wow.
Graffiti highway and all that, you're not allowed to anymore. They're actually tearing it up.
Huh. Well, here's
That's unfortunate.
Here's an exciting one that's also on the road trip, and that would be Gettysburg Battlefield in Pennsylvania as well. So, very exciting, which actually everybody's going to get a chance to do Gettysburg
Marcus,
this year. Huh?
He's looking at you when you're talking about Gettysburg like, duh.
Right.
Oh, he's on the right. He's on the right one. But I was expecting him to go, "Oh, Gettysburg would be nice," and I was going to go, "Really?"
Right.
About to explain before you rudely interrupted, Matt. Stop it. That's tickled. Stop. But actually, everybody's going to get a chance to do Gettysburg this year because in September 26th and 27th, there's a big event over in Pennsylvania called Unity Day. And Mr. Matt and Mackenzie down here are actually in charge of hosting Para Unity Day. And basically what it is everybody meets at the fairgrounds, hangs out, and, meets up with everybody for the first time. Or what's that?
It's fat food from the fair.
Exactly. So
I'm there already.
That's exactly what it is. And then the very next day, we are all going over to Gettysburg for a large investigation. It's going to be a lot of people. So meet up at the fair, get some fair food, hang out, meet our family members that we haven't met yet. Matt, you're slacking. I haven't met you yet. So, and then we go over to Gettysburg the next day. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, there's another invitation for you if you'd like.
I love all invitations. All invitations. I will accept them gratefully.
Awesome. So, yes, Cara, I agree with you. Future road trip, that'd be a lot of fun to do. Yes.
We don't have to take the van anymore.
What's that? What's that, Rochelle?
I said, at least we don't have to take the van anymore.
Oh, funny story. We were heading over to Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum in Wisconsin Dells, Wisconsin, for one of our investigation episodes. And my middle seat in my minivan, I had a Dodge Caravan. My middle seat had a tendency of not locking down into the floor like it should. But I thought it was because I had cleaned the minivan and I had fixed everything the day before because I knew I was going to have a lot of people in there. Yeah, okay. So we ended up loading up and everything, and Rochelle is in this middle seat with her coolers on one side of the seat and she's on the other side. Now, I take a really sharp turn and Rochelle almost goes and flies out the window. And
Oh no.
That has been the cover story of Minnesota Spirit Hunters ever since. So you will not let this go, will you, Rochelle?
Nope. Every stinking corner. And I'm like, dude, you know it's going to do it. And they're laughing. I'm like, everybody shut up. Your seats are all strapped down. I'm like flying around with a ragdoll in the van from the corner.
I was secretly making that trap for Matt, even though I didn't know him yet.
What happened?
He's not paying attention.
No, it's not that. It's we're gonna be in and out of service, so I'm only hearing like a little bit of the conversation.
Oh, okay.
Good old PA, our wonderful service.
Right. Lindsay, back to you.
Okay.
Now, what is one of the most terrifying things that happened to you in an investigation, if there is a terrifying moment?
Well, like I said, it takes an awful lot to scare me because this is my life. Like, I still get that moment for a second if they walk through me, or you know what I mean? You're like, ooh, that little feeling, but like I'm very comfortable most of the time. I think the only thing that would probably be more terrifying to other people that have not experienced things that way, the last investigation I went on, it's been a while. We had a demonic entity run up the wall onto the ceiling. You could hear the claws. You could hear.
Oh, wow.
You could hear the scraping of it climbing up the wall up onto the ceiling. I couldn't see it, but I could hear it quite vividly. Yeah. And that was when I was like, "Oh, it's time to go. It's time to leave. Now is the time to go."
Right.
But it sounded like a dragon. Like it sounded like there was a dragon running up the wall onto the ceiling. Yeah. It was intense. It got the energy and everything. Yeah, it was pretty intense.
It sounds like it. What would be your advice to somebody who comes across this? Like, what should you do?
If you're not used to dealing with demonic entities, or you haven't had enough exposure. Look, I have had pleasant, quote unquote, pleasant interactions with demons throughout my time, where they have not been aggressive, or you know what I mean. And I won't say they're they're not all bad. They're mischievous. They're not to be trusted. They will do things. But in that scenario, I felt that whatever it was trying to intimidate, was trying to basically say, get out, you're done. So in a scenario like that, where you run into something like that, if you feel the need to run. You should go.
Right.
You should
Right.
go. Don't ever always follow that gut. I've learned that as an empath, that gut instinct is 1,000%. Always follow that gut instinct. If something is telling you something is not right and you are not safe, remove yourself from that situation.
Right.
Because that is you telling you, hey, you are not adequately prepared to handle this, so you need to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
And
before I get into my question, where was this place that you dealt with this?
it was a nunnery.
Okay.
Yeah, it was an old nunnery.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm kind of glad you mentioned what you mentioned, because in some instances, running from a spirit could be dangerous. Now,
well, when I say run, I don't mean like, oh my God, grab the bags and grab the kids and dip. Try to do it calmly. Yes, it's like running from a dog. If you run from an aggressive dog, they're gonna chase you.
Oh yeah.
It's if you can back out slowly. But the end goal is to get out.
Right. And I'm kind of right there with you, because yes, running from a spirit could be very bad, because they could chase you. You don't know what will happen. Now, like you said, slowly try to exit the premises without them noticing, because who knows what goes on in the spiritual dimension, so I don't know. It's just,
you can sometimes tell them you're leaving. Like if they're pushing you to go, you can be like, all right, I understand, I'm leaving. And normally they will back off. Not always. They may try to rush you out the door.
yeah.
But as long as they are aware, if you can make them aware that you're leaving, some of them won't listen. They're not going to listen. But like I said, I've only ever been attacked one time, like physically attacked. I've been pushed where they're like, hey, excuse me. No. And I'm like, fine, bye. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't want to talk to you either.
Right. Now, yesterday we went and shot our season 2 premiere yesterday, and it was a lot of fun and everything. But this place, Cara and Brandon have been there before, and the moment that they turned on the spirit boxes, not yesterday, but the first time that they went there, the moment the spirit boxes came on, somebody started following them and telling them to leave, get out, all of this, Now, yesterday, we turn on our spirit boxes and we instantly start getting responses and voices and whatever. Halfway into this investigation, this same person comes through the spirit box and starts telling us to leave. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is, yes, at some destinations or wherever you are, some spirits will send you an invite to leave the premises, instead of taking action or whatever. Some spirits will just say leave or whatever. Now, if you don't leave, it can sometimes upset the spirits or whatever, but nothing bad happened because we didn't leave. We just kept going. Nothing bad happened, but yeah, it was almost as if this guy was following us.
Sometimes when they do that, it's not for them, it's for you.
Mm-hmm.
They're attempting to protect you. I've had spirits that have told me, you need to leave. It's not safe here. You know what I mean? Without telling me it's not safe here. They're just like, they push me to go, and I don't feel that I need to go. You know what I mean? So I stay, and it's literally, they feel that, and a lot of times it can just be something in their memory. They died there. You know what I mean? If you have a spirit that was murdered in the house, you know what I mean? To them, that area is dangerous. You know what I'm saying? And then they're in turn telling you to leave to protect you. You know what I mean?
I guess
That's not.
I really never thought about it like that. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Matt, Rochelle, Mackenzie, do you guys have any questions for Lindsay? Because Lindsay, you've been a very exciting guest.
Thank you.
Well, you probably already know what I'm going to ask. So
Maybe.
no, you do. So actually, Lindsay, I was wondering if you would like, we could actually schedule you to get on my show as well.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Your guest. Deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the second guest that he stole. Feel free. No, Lindsay, you're actually a very exciting guest. You know, you
Thank
have
you.
very insightful answers on a lot of stuff. And if you think our show is crazy, just wait until you get on Matt's. His is like a big pull of crazy.
I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
It's so bad, I don't even know what goes on.
I like to
fun.
I like to misbehave, so you know, just
we
don't get
all?
caught. Just don't get caught.
Wait when you see my audience. Oh boy.
Matt's a pirate.
Yeah. We're gonna get that started now.
Oh boy.
But we do have to get going. We're picking up our daughter, so
okay.
But we will catch you guys all later. But much love to the hunters and everybody. Lindsay, it's a pleasure meeting you.
It's great to meet you.
And we'll be in contact soon. See you guys.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah,
Thanks,
guys.
Mackenzie.
Much love.
How about you,
Well, I do
Rochelle?
have
You
a
got any
question.
questions?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So you let the spirits come into your house, because I kind of block mine, but I'm like my dad and my brother. And this one other one that comes through. Do you? So your kids? Does it affect your kids at all? Because I didn't I was out of it. Kids at all.
My 12-year-old can see them and interact with them. And anyone that makes him uncomfortable, like to the point of like whatever is removed from the house. The toddler, because he is still so young, his mind is very open. He can see them. He interacts with them. He gives me names. He tells me, you know what I mean? He's very comfortable with them. He plays with them. I've caught him on his baby monitor. It's they enjoy it. Like my older one, he's a little, it freaks him out a little bit. But it's been something that's been his whole life. When he was his brother's age, like around 2-ish, I had a woman that lived in that house with us, and she would knock his blocks over. He would stack them, and then I would watch her push them over. And she would play with him. She would literally play with him and his toys on the floor. It's been something that's been a part of his life, his whole life, because it's a part of my life. And he's accepted it. He's very open to it. He wants to learn. And it's a generational thing. My abilities have come down on my mom's side. My mom has it a little bit, and then, my grandmother before her, her mother. But as with each generation, it gets stronger. My son is already almost at my level of ability at 12. You know what I mean? And I assume his brother will also be phenomenal. But thankfully, I didn't have anyone to teach me. I just had to learn by the seat of my pants, flying through the air, whatever happened, and just, but my son, I have tried to, nurture that ability and help him understand it, so that he can use it, because it is a beautiful thing. It is like having your own little bit of magic. Like, I feel kind of magical. Like, I can, I affect people's feelings. Like, if I'm in a foul mood and I don't rein that in, people around me become that they're in a foul mood. And it goes the same way. If I'm around someone who is depressed, if I don't block that, I become horrendously depressed. But, my son has shown more so like psychic medium than the empath, surprisingly. But I think it's in there a little bit. I just don't think he understands what he's doing, what he's feeling. You know what I mean? Because we feed off of each other, and he is like skating into puberty. So when he has a puberty meltdown and he gets into a fit, it then affects me, and then I'm irritated, and then we're at each other because I'm very open around my own children. You know what I mean? I always want to be able to feel my children, and I don't want to block anything. I want to be able to help. So unfortunately, occasionally, if I don't block it in time, we're fighting. And then we just feed off of each other's anger.
Yep.
Well, it's good that you're showing them and letting them learn with you. So that's
Yeah. If he did not want to continue it, if he did not want to use it, I would not push him to, because it is hard to bear. Like, it is something, it's not all fun. It's fun, but it's not always fun. And it can be damaging to you as a person, because I unfortunately give out a lot more than I'm given. And I drain myself very easily sometimes trying to help people that probably can't be helped. I attract a lot of damaged people because of being an empath. They're very attracted to me because I make them feel good. And in turn, I try to heal those people and I drain myself, but I don't get anything in return for it. They don't return any of that back. So.
Right. Wow. While we're on this subject, Rochelle, if you got any time later, I'd like to get your help with something if you got time later.
Later this afternoon, I will, later on.
Okay. That works. Something very unusual for me happened in our investigation yesterday, and I'm trying to put all the pieces together, but with my ability not being 100%, I was the only one, there that spirits and stuff could communicate with, and everybody kind of opened their self to me and showed their self and stuff, and I'm trying to put everything together, and it's a lot to take in because I don't experience this every day, so
Remember what I said about cemeteries being like, you got to go in there and just kind of pick and choose and try and block them out, because otherwise you have like 30 and they're all talking and your brain's just going, please stop.
Oh yeah. They'll come running.
Once I give you the story of what happened, Rochelle, I don't know, maybe you can help me put some stuff together, but let's just say I was almost in tears yesterday. That's how bad it was. So, but I'll talk to you about
when you started
that a little
talking
later.
about it, I kind of got the feeling. So.
Did you? Okay. Awesome. Now, Lindsay, Cara says, have you ever done readings?
So I have. I do them for myself. I do them, I practice with my son. He likes tarot cards. So I have been teaching him how to use tarot cards. And I've noticed, like, I did not have an affinity for tarot cards 10 years ago. I couldn't use them. I could not comprehend them. I could not, they were just very useless for me. And then within, I would say, the last 3 to 5 years, it started picking up with practice and using them. And, I have a favorite deck that I always get out when I really need something really clarified. I do readings for friends, and I will do readings for people if they ask me. And I use the tarot cards to kind of help direct a little bit, because I am not a medium or a psychic. So it's a lot of times, if the person isn't in front of me and they don't have their grandmother hanging on their shoulder, I can't, do anything of that nature. I can get feelings off of people from other people. Like, if my mom would come over and she'd be telling me about something, I could pick up something about my dad just from what has carried over from her. But I do, yes, I do.
Awesome. I agree with Kara. There was a lot of emotional, spiritual, etc. experiences yesterday. We all love the gazebo. There was a gazebo there, and we can't get too much into it until the episode is released. But a lot of interesting stuff happened. It was crazy and awesome at the same time, and I 100% agree. I can't wait till everybody sees this. It's going to be awesome. So, now, anybody in the comments that have been watching, and by the way, thank you very much for watching this entire time. If anybody has any questions for Lindsay or for the hunters, feel free to put them in the comments there. But Lindsay, how about you? Do you have any questions for us as a team?
Not particularly. I like to discover things as I go. I like to try and pick them up on my own. It helps me practice.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure I'll meet you guys someday.
Oh,
And I'm
absolutely.
sure we'll interact, because I am a self-taught and I was not directed. I still like to, when people are like, "Oh, what would you like to know?" I'll be like, "Just let me go, and I'll ask you if I'm right or not." You know what I mean? And I like to pick things up on my own. It sounds like you guys have a lot of fun though on your investigations.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. And actually, I'd like to extend one more invite for you, but I will actually chat with you about that after the show.
All right.
You know, a lot of people are invited and coming, so I'd like to get you involved if you would like. So, but
Absolutely.
if anybody has any questions, feel free to throw them in the comments here. You know, I know you got to get ready for work here soon, so we're gonna wrap it up. But you have been absolutely an amazing guest.
Thank you.
Kara wants to know, have you been part of a team?
I have. I am a part of a team, actually.
Really?
Yes.
Awesome. Now, is there anywhere that anybody can find investigations that you've been on, or like videos or anything? Or
I actually have only been on one like professional investigation with a team. Life just gets in the way. Too many kids. You know what I mean? School and whatnot. I only work the weekends. You know what I mean? I'm a stay-at-home mom for the most part, and I cart one kid to and from school, and I got the toddler at home. So everything I do in my life has to be planned 8 years in advance. And
8 years in advance.
yeah, like everything has to be thoroughly planned out. I have to find a babysitter, a backup babysitter, and a backup babysitter just in case somebody bails. You know what I mean? It's my husband owns his own construction company, so he works, you know what I mean, very long days. Yeah, very long days.
Wow.
And it's not necessary for me to work, but it's my time out of the house. It's my time away from the chaos for 5 minutes. So I go deal with adult toddlers instead of, toddlers. I work retail. So I work retail. So, I go deal with, adult children. But everything has to be thoroughly planned in advance just in case, until like I'm waiting for my older one to get just a little bit older, and then I really want to start taking him on investigations because I feel like the experience for him would be amazing, and I feel like he would be a decent asset. His abilities are very surprising sometimes.
Now, whichever member this is wants to know, what state are you in, wondering for Prayer Unity Day or West Virginia trip. And actually, that West Virginia trip is what I was going to extend a invitation for. So I'll chat with you about it after the show.
Okay. I'm in Ohio, so
not too bad.
Yeah,
we actually have a P3 member over in Ohio. So
okay, I live in the Cleveland area.
Nice.
So yeah. So
right.
Pennsylvania's not that far away, and West Virginia's not that far away. So.
Oh no, it's happening, and I'll chat with you after the show about everything.
Okay.
So
absolutely,
once again, Lindsay, thank you so much for being a guest at
Thank you.
as a bonus for season 2. So thank you for being a guest.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, anytime, and you're always welcome back.
Okay.
Kara is in charge of our scheduling, so if you'd like to come back, feel free to reach out to Kara, and she can get
Absolutely.
you. So
absolutely.
Rochelle, thank you for being here. You know, you have some. You two kind of have some very. How do I say it? You two kind of connected very well. I kind of like how you two connected.
It's kind of nice to hear somebody else have the same thing going on, and that's kind of what the para-unity thing is. They're not telling you nuts, you know, and it's nice to just hear everybody validate that. Yeah, I get that too. You're like, oh, yeah, thank you.
You're not crazy. You're not crazy, and if you are, we're both crazy, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's about it. Yep.
You know, I can honestly say after yesterday, I'm going crazy. You know, because like I said, I was the only one there with a gift. You know, and of course, all of our members are special, and everybody, you know, is unique on an investigation in their own way. But me being the only one that could actually see, hear, and feel these spirits was very challenging and emotional. So, yeah, and Rochelle, that's why I need a second opinion. I've already reached out to our other medium T as well. So, yeah, that's how bad it got yesterday. So, but I'll chat with both of you after the show. Once again, thank you both very much. And Lindsay, it was very much a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Show. Yes, you're always welcome back.
So, well, thank you.
Lindsay.
Absolutely.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you.
Yes. All right. Well, you guys have a great day, and I definitely look forward to chatting again.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Well, try not to work too hard at work today.
Absolutely not. They don't pay me enough for that.
Right. All right. Well, hope everyone has a great Sunday. Rochelle and Lindsay, thank you guys very much. I'll see y'all later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. You too. All right, guys. Very amazing guest for this season 2 bonus of Minnesota SpiritCast. Very interesting and very insightful. So I did want to show that we actually have a new selection of merchandise that you can order. This is now a Minnesota SpiritCast t-shirt, and it's very exciting that we have new merchandise, and we are going to be updating the merchandise that we have as well. So if anybody wants merchandise, feel free to message any of the hunters, and we will get you what you need. So once again, that was Lindsay Kwiecien. Got her name right this time. So like we mentioned, the West Virginia trip, anyone is invited. If you want to go, shoot us a message, and we will get you added into a group chat so we can get everything going for everybody. So, but it was very exciting to chat with everybody, and I do want to remind everybody to go to dscos.com, check out all the equipment, and you'll use code MNSH for some of for 10% discount on already low prices. So actually really exciting over there at dscos. And then we actually have one more contest for some Minnesota Spirit Hunters merchandise going on. It is the swag bag giveaway, and it ends on April 30th at noon. And all you have to do is find the original post on Facebook. It is on Kara's page, also on the Minnesota Spirit Hunters page, and more. So find the original post, like that post. There's a few simple directions. So follow the directions, and winner will be chosen at noon, April 30th. So really exciting there, along with a lot more giveaways that will be coming up. Now, if anybody wants to be on an episode of Minnesota SpiritCast, I'm going to go ahead and extend your invitation to go ahead and message us, and we can get you added in. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you share an interest, you're part of a team, anything. So just let us know, and you guys have been very awesome. But we're going to wrap it up for this morning, and we will actually see you guys tonight at 7 p.m. Central Time. That is 8 p.m. Eastern Time with the one and only ParaPost guy himself. It is Brian John Laverty, and that's going to be a lot of fun and a great episode. So until then, we're going to go ahead and play the brand new P3 video made by myself, which took a lot of work, and anybody interested in the P3 program, feel free to message Matt and he can get you started and we'll get you added in the video and whatever. So join this amazing program, become part of the family and whatever else. So we'll go ahead and play this video and we're going to get out of here. But until tonight at 7 p.m. with Brian John Laverty, hope you guys have a great day and happy hunting.
This program is intended for mature audiences. Parental